guys, today is an episode of The Best of the Rest, just looking at the best of the weekend's action that I haven't covered already. So we'll start off with Tottenham beating Nottingham Forest by 3-1 in the end, and it was a good response from Tottenham, to be fair, to the disappointment in the Champions League in midweek, and what had been a not so good 10 days for them, having gone out of the FA Cup as well and lost 1-0 to Wolves in the league last week as well. So it was a good performance. They started with Richarlison, who had a bit of a controversial moment in the post-match interviews against AC Milan, criticising his manager. But he played well. This is probably the best I've seen Richarlison play in a Tottenham shirt so far. He didn't score a goal. He had the ball in the back of the net in the opening 5 minutes or so, but it was correctly disallowed, just offside. It was a really good finish, though, to be fair, from him. But his all-round game in this game was really good, earning a penalty for Kane's second and just constantly causing the Forest defence problems. He played a big part in the third goal as well. So it was a really good performance from him, I thought in particular. Kane got the first 2 goals, scoring the header and the penalty. The first one, I just feel as though it wasn't the best defending from Nottingham Forest. I think the fact that Ben Davies was allowed to sort of like sweep it back into the path of Pedro Porro, and no one picks up that Kane's going to hold back a little bit and get his head on it. Like both defenders lost track of where Harry Kane was. So it was below par defending from Nottingham Forest. I think that's fair to say. Son took his goal well. Again, Richarlison played well in the build-up to it. And then once that third goal went in, Nottingham Forest sort of decided they're going to go forward a little bit and started to create a chance every now and again. So, you know, they got one back through Joe Worrell, who conceded the penalty for the second, and it was a poor challenge on Richarlison. But this one, Felipe, he got a little flick on, and yeah, easy chance in the end. And then the penalty at the end, it feels a bit harsh, but it's one of them where Kulusevski's arm is out, but I'm sure he has absolutely zero intention of handballing it, but it's still got to be a penalty. And Andre took it, and he took a poor penalty for Ghana at the World Cup against Uruguay. And this one wasn't much better, to be honest. It was an easy save, to be honest, for Fraser Forster. And yeah, can't understand why he's Nottingham Forest's #1 penalty taker in that situation. But yeah, if Forest had got that second goal, I think the 3-2 results in the end would have been kind on them, because I think there was clearly a team who were the better side in this game, and that was definitely Tottenham. And yeah, they had a good game, Tottenham, and this has put them, with Liverpool losing to Bournemouth, possibly as the favourites now to get top 4, especially with the run that Liverpool have got in their next 3 league games. They've got Manchester City away, Chelsea away, and Arsenal at home. So that's going to be a tough run for Liverpool, and it will be really interesting to see how they do in that. And as a Liverpool fan, I don't know. We tend to perform well in the big games this year, so I'm not overly worried. But yeah, it'll be difficult. It's never going to be easy. But yeah, Tottenham, I think they're in the driving seat. I think Newcastle's form has dropped off a little bit this year. More on them in a few minutes in their game against Wolves. But yeah, Tottenham look like a better side in this game. And Forest, they had an opportunity last week, I think, against Everton to take all 3 points in what was a winnable fixture and sort of give them a bit of breathing space away from the relegation zone. But I think the fact that they failed to win that game last week is, I don't know, it's put them back into the conversation of relegation, because they're definitely not clear of it yet. They need to get a few more wins on the board. And then in the Saturday tea time kickoff, Manchester City managed to get a well fought victory away at Crystal Palace. And I thought this game was just one where it wasn't going to happen for Man City the way it was going. All the chances just felt like they were falling to the wrong people. Rodri seemed to have all of the good opportunities in the first half. Erling Haaland, he was struggling to get into the game. He had one half chance in the first half, if you can even call it a chance. And I thought one substitution did make a difference for Man City, though. Bringing on Julian Alvarez just seemed to give them a bit of like an extra dimension in attack. He has this brilliant way of spinning a defender, which he showed on one main occasion in this game, and managing to get a shot off. But the goal in the end came from just a lapse in concentration from Crystal Palace. No one picking anyone up on the corner. Everyone just expecting City to take their time. They take it quickly, and Michael Elise just makes a really clumsy challenge and gives away the penalty, which Haaland scores. And you never feel like Haaland's going to miss when he's got a penalty. I don't even know if he ever has missed one, but he is very consistent at taking penalties. Is Erling Haaland. That's one thing you can also look at in his game. But yeah, this is a good result for Man City, and it's not a horrendous result for Crystal Palace, but given the way the game went, the fact that they managed to hold on until there was 10 minutes to go, they started to play a bit of football once they conceded, and put a little bit of pressure on City towards the end. But Palace now haven't won a game since New Year's Eve away at Bournemouth, I think it was, and they are going to be, well, they're slowly sinking into this relegation scrap, and that'll be really disappointing given the way their season started. And it wouldn't surprise me if soon that Patrick Vieira is put under a little bit of pressure in terms of getting results, because now I think Crystal Palace, are they 12th in the league? Yeah, I think they're 12th in the league on goal difference, and I think that's the highest they could finish this season, because Aston Villa in 11th have managed to create that much of a gap on them. And so, it's not turning out to be an exciting end for the season for Crystal Palace. It just feels as though it's just fighting against relegation, when their expectations just a month ago or 2 months ago would have been a lot higher than that. And the fact that they haven't even managed to have a shot on target in the last 3 games is just a shocking statistic, to be honest, and something needs to change, because it's just not working at the minute. Wilfried Zaha, there's questions over his future, as there usually always is at this time of year, and I just feel as though when you've got someone like Abir Eze on the bench, it makes very little sense to me. I understand if Patrick Vieira feels as though going for a more, I don't know what words would you use, but a more conservative midfield is a better idea. But there's no creativity in this team other than if you can get the ball out wide. There's nothing through the centre. It's all very bland, I would say. It's not like it's a horrendous midfield, but there's just not enough. There's nobody you look at who's going to pick the ball up, drive forward with it, and create an opportunity for a teammate, I don't think. So yeah, that's a problem that Palace have got. But for Man City, it's just keeping up with Arsenal at the minute, and that's what Man City are used to doing. They've been doing this every year for 4 or 5 years now. Either chasing the leader and eventually catching them, or being chased. So that Arsenal are new to this. City have experience, so it will be interesting to see if Arsenal can keep the gap the way it is. I think it's 5 points now, so it will be interesting to see how that turns out at the end of the season. But yeah, City in this game, they got the job done. They didn't. It wasn't like sparkling, but they did what they needed to in the end, and they got the victory. And then the final game I wanted to cover today was Newcastle managed to beat Wolves 2-1 at home. And this was a really good game to watch, actually. When Newcastle took the lead through an Alexander Isak header, I didn't see Wolves managing to come back into the game the way they did, and yeah, they put up a really good game, put up a really good fight in the end. Sorry to try and win or get something out of the game, and there was actually a bit of a talking point early on in the game with Raul Jimenez and Nick Pope. Jimenez managed to nick the ball off of Nick Pope after a heavy touch. But for me, I think Jimenez has looked for it. I think the referee gave the right decision. I don't think there's enough contact. Pope, his arm does touch Jimenez, but it's never enough to bring him down. And I think Jimenez was disappointed at himself in that he took quite a poor first touch, which gave him little chance of scoring. So he realised he had to go and try and win the penalty. But yeah, Isak's header put Newcastle in front, and Newcastle did have a couple of more chances in the first half. Wolves didn't attack enough really in the first half. Podence came close hitting the post, but it was the second half where Wolves came out a much better team. The first 20 minutes of the second half, Wolves played really well, played some really good football, and came close to scoring on numerous occasions. Not least a free kick from Pedro Neto, I think it was. But they managed to get the equaliser through substitute Hwang Ki-chan, who had only just come off the bench. And this moment from Kieran Trippier, it's one of them, because Trippier has been brilliant this season for Newcastle, one of their best players. And he put in a brilliant set piece to set up Isak's header, nearly scored a free kick himself, and defended well for the majority of the game. But it's just one of them where it's going to happen one or two times a season where you'll make an error like that, just like slip over at the wrong time, and Hwang had to tap in and made it 1-1. But Almiron, super sub in this game, as well as Hwang, managed to get the winner, and it was a typical Miguel Almiron goal in terms of that he is so good at playing a 1-2 and ghosting in behind a left back or a centre back at the back post and then hitting it across goal. He gets a bit fortunate with this one, because I don't think it was actually going in before the deflection off Max Kilman, I think it was. And I think as well, although you could say it's smart movement from Almiron, I think the fact that Wolves had subbed on Nathan Collins by this point and had gone to a back five or a back three, however you want to look at it, either way they had three centre-backs. The fact that Dawson and Kilman both got drawn towards the ball, I can't remember who it was who played it into him. It was either Isak, Wilson or Joe Willock. I think it might have been Joe Willock who played it back into him, and they all get drawn towards the ball. One of them's got to hold the position and make sure that Almiron can't have the space that he does get, and his shot gets deflected and goes in. I personally not 100% sure that Almiron's shot was going in originally. It looked as though it was going a little bit wide or possibly hitting the post, but they've given him the goal because I don't think there's conclusive evidence to say that it wasn't going in before the deflection. But this is a good result for Newcastle. It's showed that they've got their ability to score goals back, and I think as well as that, the team needed freshening up a little bit, because they've been so good for the first few months of the season, and recently it's sort of that their forms took a turn for the worse, goal scoring wise especially. They've really struggled to score goals so far in the league this year. And that it was a much needed victory. And for Wolves, I think they can take positives from this performance. They put in a really good shift, and could have got something out of this game on another day. And I think it shows how much they've improved under Lopetegui, this performance. And I fully back Wolves to be one of the teams that is sort of like clear of relegation before the last couple of games of the season. I think personally, I don't think they'll be in a relegation scrap on the final day. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.